Alright, so since we've been collecting Far Cry Platinums like Infinity Stones, today we're getting our last one, and this Platinum has a total of 54 trophies, so let's get right into it. We start the story by meeting the dictator president of Yara, where we will be playing most of the story, and he's been doing some not so good things to people. And we get our first trophy pop of the video by creating our character Danny Rojas. And within our first cutscene with Danny, his friend gets domed. And then minutes later, he's all alone because his sister dies, so he's officially on the Far Cry story path. After those cutscenes, we were finally free to play the game, and our first operation was finding Libertad, a resistance group. And when we find their group, we also find the leader of the resistance. She instantly gives us a mission to go find Juan, an alcoholic in the region, but it's kinda cool because he has a dope-ass crocodile. And we get our next trophy because we pet the crocodile, which is a dope-ass feature. And basically the next couple hours I was just basically doing chores for Juan, including scoping out this base, taking out this field, and also taking out this anti-air cannon. And in the conclusion of this little tutorial section, it ends up finishing by us taking out this boat, and then we get drove off in the sunset. How beautiful. And then after that we get shown the map, and basically what we're going to be doing for the whole story is recruiting resistance groups to our cause and then trying to take out main groups that help the president in order to weaken him. But before any of that, we had to get the trophy for the optional Far Cry ending, and it was just running away from the whole situation. Too bad that wasn't the real ending. Completely unrelated to the trophies and to the story, check out this tough little collat. Also completely unrelated, just me crying. They made me try to kill tanks, but gave me nothing to deal with them. My next trophy was gotten by killing 10 soldiers while I have heat, which is basically that little wanted bar. Think of it like 5 stars in GTA. I also got a trophy for killing an enemy 50 meters above him while I was in this plane. And we finally got to the section's first boss, and we ended up shooting him out of the helicopter. We then got a cutscene that basically showed Anton didn't even care, but we got a trophy, so fuck it. I then got a mission that said we had the opportunity to kill the president. FBI, it is not what it sounds like. But along the way we got this trophy pop for killing 10 special forces. When I got to where I thought the president was going to be, all we found was his son, and for some reason he helped us, so that was cool. But what was even cooler is we got to steal his ride. Alright, bear with me for 1 second. This is going to be a bit of a yap session, but at this point in the video, I had like 5 hours of footage corrupt, but luckily since this game's story is so uneventful, it doesn't matter all that much. Basically all you're going to miss is that we recruited the Legends of 67, which was a resistance group back in their time, and then we also recruited La Morale, which is basically the new version of Legends 67. And then we also ended up killing this general who looked a lot like Lord Farquaad, and we also killed McKay, who was a Canadian leader of some sort that was helping fund Castillo's projects. The next trophy we got was for finding the security box, which disables all the cameras. I also got this trophy for recruiting the Legends of 67 and La Morale. The next trophy I got was for upgrading a base camp to level 3. And then the next thing we did to piss off Castillo was shoot up his baby mama. And then for the finale of this little section, we were fighting at this base and we're waiting for Juan so he could exfil us out. I felt like I was playing Warzone for a second. After completing all 3 sections, we got an outfit to show that we were the leader of the resistance, and because we had a matching outfit, they decided to give us a trophy because we have drip. And finally, the finale of the story, we'd go to where Castillo is staying, and we find him waiting at the top. When we end up going to confront him, he ends up killing his son and then killing himself, and is a really great way to end a great story. I can see why the reviews were so high. Now for the surprisingly better part of this platinum, the cleanup, and no, I'm not joking. We had to take this in a special operation and make sure it didn't overheat, and we had to do this 3 times, but you could only do it once a week, so it took 3 weeks. That was awesome. But here's the trophy pop for doing 1 special operation, and also a trophy for hitting a certain level rank. The next thing I decided to do was capture an FND base without being detected. I also captured 10 checkpoints, which were basically just like little bases along the road. For my next trophy, I went around destroying anti-aircraft cannons, and after we destroyed our 16th one, we got this trophy. For the next trophy, I had to find these 3 artifacts and take them to this cave, and after we put them down, we ended up having to fight like these hellhound looking things, and then after we killed all those, we ended up getting a trophy for that. The next trophy was obtained watching 2 cocks fight to death. Let's just move on. I then channeled my inner need for speed and won 3 races to get this trophy. For this next trophy, I had to learn how to play dominoes, which was actually super simple. Basically, you can't put the domino down unless the number is the same that you're trying to put it on, and the game ends once someone either runs out of dominoes or no one can put one down, and the person with the lowest number left total wins. Boring! I got a trophy for doing a takedown from a horse.
Yeah, I'm on the horse, motherfucker. Take a look at me.
I got this trophy for buying all the backpacks that Juan made. For all the people who watched the Far Cry 5 Platinum, welcome back to the fishing montage. And after catching all those fish, I ended up selling them to get meals for this trophy, Fry Cry. Some comedic geniuses working over there. I slid a super long distance to get this trophy. I got this trophy for getting one of every camp facility. I got this trophy for putting each attachment possible on a resolver weapon. I got this trophy for shark fishing with an RPG and also got a W Far Cry 3 reference. I then went back for week 2 of special operations, and this time I focused on keeping it under 50% heat level, that way I could get this trophy. I got this oddly satisfying trophy for running over 10 enemy soldiers. I got this trophy for completing 5 Bandito operations, which is basically you send a group of soldiers out to do something for you and you just give them orders on what to do. The next trophy was from getting collectibles, which always sucks, but it was for 49 weapons crates. For the next trophy, I had to collect all the amigos, and the only 2 I was missing was this emo chicken called Chicharron, and then I was missing Boom Boom from Far Cry 5. The next trophy I got was from EMPing a tank and taking it over. I finally figured it out. I got this trophy for putting Chicharron in a different fit. The next trophy was another collectible one, and you got it by finding these crates and then finding the 2 pieces of paper in order to open it. One of the most difficult challenges of this platinum was finding someone else to play with me, but when I finally did, I got this trophy pop for completing an FND base in co-op. The last collectible trophy was done by getting 15 USB sticks. I then went around and cleaned up all the FND bases in order to get this trophy. The next thing I had to do is bring 3 vehicles back to my base in mint condition, so I very carefully stabbed this guy in the head, and then after we brought 3 vehicles back, we got this trophy pop. The next trophy we got was for stealing 10 supply drops, and no, not these ones.
A pair of fucking pants!
And after clearing out all the enemies and stealing the supply drops, we got this trophy. The next trophy was gotten by collecting all 4 vehicles in the game, and we found this last one sitting in the garage here and got the trophy pop for it. I then found a bunch of roosters in boxes for some reason for this trophy. Next, I had to use the Legend Chorizo to distract 10 enemies for this trophy. Next, I sabotaged this alarm box and watched some idiot blow himself up so I could get this trophy. For the next trophy, we had to hunt down 5 legendary animals. First, we got this hog, then we got these 2 wolves, then we got this albino crocodile, and then lastly, we got this big-ass panther. The next thing I had to do was scan this car so I could steal its rims and use it on mine to fully pimp it out. The next trophy I got was for poisoning 5 soldiers and having them kill each other. And basically the method I came up with to do this was to just start this special operation and poison these 2 soldiers so they would just focus on each other. And after doing it 5 times, we got this. The next thing I had to do was find the secret cache on a special operations mission. After finding the key, I went over here to get this trophy. I then had to rescue 30 hostages, and the best way I found to do this was just repeating the special operation where you could save 3 every time. So it took a little while, but eventually we got it. Then finally we got back to our 3-week trophy. I ended up getting ready to kill this last guy. I don't know what fucking kind of superhero he is, but he ate this RPG, so I shot him once again. And then finally we got our 3-week trophy, and then right after that we got our platinum trophy. And here's a live representation of how I felt that I was finally done. In conclusion, this game sucked. Please do not play it. Also, let me know what games y'all want to see next. Peace.